Alpine, where's Robinson? This lobby might be bugged. People can't choose the cars. Also seen Zikolevsky. My game is I'm just gonna say go. Okay, we'll begin now. Hopefully it's working. Gonna have to hand out some UAs. Still only got 20 FPS. Hopefully that fixes itself. This is a bit annoying. So apparently someone didn't unclick the button, Antonopoulos didn't unclick the button quickly enough. And I didn't read the absences channel fully, so I think possibly my fault. Okay, where's the absences reasoning? Load. Okay. Okay, we are in qualifying now. I need to check the stream is working. We'll go back. Check. Seems to be working. And I'll go back now. Could someone tell me if the audio is working? If it is. And I also need to turn the game sounds down. Why am I riding on board with someone? It's so weird. Normally you get like 90 FPS. Now I'm only getting 40. This game is an absolute joke. Going to try and fix it. See if it's decided to set ray tracing to high. Okoziel has joined. We will need to, if he actually starts driving, we're going to need to do a lobby restart, and I'll have to set it to invite only. Hasn't chosen a car yet. Need to set something in chat. Back public seems to have already retired. What did I just see? Okay, re-lobby. What are you talking about? I see it on stream. Every time when this... Yeah, we are doing a new lobby. In case you're watching. Sorry for this, we're having a few issues. Where is it? I'm going to block Kozil. Okay, we've got a lobby. This is annoying. Can I report Kozil now? Not really a button with the correct reporting option. How many people are in the lobby? Okay, only 15 so far. Also, is lobby set to invite only? Okay, it's still friends only, but hopefully everyone has removed Kozil from friends. And you can't join your friends through EA friends, I believe. So should be fine. So we still need 10 Kronerwagen. Actually Antonopoulos has declared busy. Robinson is busy, but we have both of the reserves in the Alpines. We have Trovila missing. We have Keeler missing. And Zikolewski. Oh gosh. Why is Kent finding it so hard to select a car? Okay, Keeler's in now. Hopefully selects a car. Why is Wodge in a car? This is odd. Really odd. So we've got... This is so annoying and also so difficult when like to do like all this attendance stuff. But I think we'll just go. Why is Wodge still in a car? Am I gonna have to drive? In quotation marks. Apparently also Groenewegen. Trovila also yet to join the new lobby. See if I can send an invite to Vila. Trovila is in, but needs to select a car, I believe. And then we're still having a few problems, so we need to just get one final person to fill the lobby. We've removed everyone, Kozil from everyone's friends list. Are we going or not? Or just trying to work stuff out? I think we've got some people to fill the lobby. Or what? Okay. We've got the 20th person to fill the lobby. Okay, we can finally go. That was a pain. I think I still have the same frame rate problems. Yeah, the input lag is horrendous. We're loading in now. Hopefully there won't be too many safety cars. Otherwise, it's gonna be boring, slow. But Jeddah should be quite quick. It's 25 laps, which are about 1:30. Whereas like Singapore's like 1:35, 1:40, and it's 31 laps. Okay, we're in. Now I'm getting 66 FPS. This is so weird. What graphic settings has it decided to do? Maybe it's because I think this is the first time. That's new. I didn't know the game had variable rate shading. Let's go for that. How we should set to low. Why? Should be. Track looks very busy. Yeah, that seems good. We've had a spinner. An Alfa Romeo. Yeah, I think that's Bakalik who's spun. On the outlap, he was first and back. I think it's Tuo Vila in the Alpha Tauri, who has negative 46-degree tyres on my screen, which is a bit funky, but I guess I hope that that's just on my end, and that they're not having any problems. The FPS on stream looks decent. As now we ride more with two-wheeler who is starting a lap. Crossing the start-finish line now. Doing 324 k's an hour. Which is slightly higher wings than I would go for. But not absurdly high. Ugh, not using all the track and exit. And my commentary is about as washed at. Actually, these apexes are much better than my commentary is right now. I'm not sure if it means much. There's 5 of you watching this stream. That corner's pretty decent. Now I'm getting 80 FPS. As we've had our seat filler leave the session. Hopefully we do not have an AI car during the race, as that would not be great. But we've got involved with two-wheeler through the really challenging 22-23 section. Meh. I'll just describe this lap as a meh lap. Just like my commentary. But going into the final corner. Meh. Probably not very interesting for me to say it's a meh lap. Dirksen is watching stream, lovely. And it's a 29.9, which is very meh, and to Abti, it's a 28.4, which is quite a bit faster, but I suspect we will get down into the low 28s, possibly even the high 27s. There's some slight visual artifacts on my screen. But right now, our fastest lap so far is Kilo with a 28.5, which is actually a pretty strong lap. And then followed by Tuabsi with a 28.7, Kent with a 28.8, which is over a second off his personal best. So definitely a banker, but they still have 2 more runs. Unless they drive into the pits at this speed. Although looking at the steering wheel, there's only 0.6 laps of fuel left in the car, as our seat filler has joined back in. And I think everyone's on an in lap. Although there's some broken wing somewhere, I didn't keep track of where it was. And it seems like Prokodowski's saving the battery and has 2 and a bit laps of fuel left in the car, so it might be going for another lap soon. So we'll ride on board with the Ferrari, who set a 30.5 as a bank, which is not particularly quick, and will need some improvement if the driver in the red car wants to start somewhat high up on the grid. Maybe not going for the additional lap, as I theorise. The tyres are probably pretty dead. I'm getting visual artifacts on my screen. Is there anyone on a lap? We have Bachelet on an out lap, Eberson on an out lap, and Snape on an out lap. Snape is the furthest along an out lap, so we'll be starting the lap first. So we'll ride on board with Mitch in the McLaren. The lap should be starting soon. Now, maximising the exit speed out of the final. What are people doing? Go on board with Bakelec then. Gets on the throttle out of the final corner. goes across the start-finish line into turn 1, braking heavily. Second gear, and then misses the second apex. So this hasn't been an ideal first turn, but this is a banker lap. And then runs wide and invalidates. Through turn 3, was it turn 4, was it turn 5, was it turn 6? But we ride on board with Eberson. He's going through the first corner, narrowly avoids getting impeded by a car exiting the pits. Going through whatever turn number this is, quite nice and clean. Able to carry some very good speed, but then loses the rear. That was a pretty nice 360. Will the Williams driver decide to box? Or a new set of tyres to just finish the lap anyways? Actually, there's only 1.2 laps of fuel in the car, so it will be a very slow lap. Is there anyone else you can ride on board with? Enters there. I think the two-wheeler is first. Was it Backlick? No, Backlick's invalidated, but has enough fuel and the battery, so I think we'll go on board with Backlick again. Opening the rear wing, turning on the battery, minus 40-degree tyres on the steering wheel, braking just before the 100-metre board, and having okay speed, almost getting impeded by a teammate, and then getting too greedy on the throttle in turn 2 exit. Is there anyone else on that? I think no. I think Kent's just started a lap, so we'll ride on board with the Mercedes driver, who is currently our championship leader by 5 points over Dominic Stiebel in 4th place, a very distant 4th place, I will add, 8/10. Decent speed through that turn, whatever number it is. Although this lap I wouldn't say is completely on the limit, I guess it's like second banker. But speaking of not on the limit, loops it round. Kent will not be happy with that. We'll ride on board with Tuabti, who is just starting a lap now, taking an extremely wide line through the final corner to maximise speed starting the lap. Going down the first straight, 332 kilometers an hour, so the AlphaTauri will be someone to look out for during the race. Getting on the throttle very early, although that might be assisted with the aid of traction control. Very close to the limits through that corner. Everyone seems to be struggling with the rear lot. Maybe they just copied the time trial setup, which is actually quite aggressive at Jeddah. So they will probably need to lower the front wing. Now going through what I like to call the tail of the sperm. And now into this fast chicane, whatever turn number it is. And there's probably about 3 more turns until the next real corner. But so far it's been just like a... losing the back end isn't what I would call tidy. It's been a very meh lap. That's a very meh chicane. Getting some not ideal exit speed. I think Tuabti is going to back out. Ford just left the session. Hopefully we'll rejoin. We can retire in the pits lap 1. And Tuabti decides to bail it into the pits after a pretty poor lap. Keeler's improving by 4/10. That looked quick. That looked really quick. Tyres definitely aren't negative 36 degrees Celsius. Getting on the throttle so early. This is a great lap from Keeler. And what time is it? It is a 28.1. Yikes, that is quick. Like, very quick. Hopefully Keeler isn't doing the Mackenzie strat. If you get what I mean. All 11 viewers. But that was one quick qualifying lap. Who else is on a lap? Out of fuel. Also out of fuel. Out lap. You're not supposed to be driving, mate. What on earth is happening? It's an AI car. You should just be filling the seats so Koziel can't get it. But you're driving on the track on full wet tyres. I'm not... What on earth is happening? Eberson's on an out lap. Turovila! Fortunately, Mish is disconnected, but Wodge has joined. We'll ride and ball with Turovila. Okay, first chicane. Now going into turn whatever. Okay. Not as good as Keeler, but better than the banker lap. Taking the first sector quite nicely, but then running really wide, but game doesn't decide to invalidate. Which would be very fortunate for Turovila, who goes into the hairpin. And now... I think that's pretty decent, although the rear does look a bit loose through the corners. Opening the rear wing definitely seems to be running a lot more downforce than Tuabti. Taking it quite nicely through the chicane. Decent minimum speed and exit speed. Through that chicane you really need to not overcook the entry, otherwise it just messes up the rest of the chicane. But going into the final corner, braking nice and late, getting on the throttle nice and early. Opening the DRS to the line, and it is a 29.4, which is enough for P5 now, although it's 1.2 seconds off Keeler in the lead. Mission has been able to join back in. Is there anyone else on the lap? I think Kent is on the lap. Only improving by 0.2 though. We'll ride on board until the end. We've still got 3 minutes left, so those still in the pits can come out for another run. That was an okay final corner. We'll see what lap time that is. It is a 28.3, which is the 10th and a half off Keeler, so Kent would have been hoping for a bit more. But right now it's P2. Is there anyone else on the lap? We have Oscar Eberson right now in the Williams, who's on an in lap. And we have Turovila who we're on board with. As Mitch Snape's got a 5-place grid penalty for a collision, which is unfortunate. But Mitch was in 19th anyways. And it seems like both cars have got terminal damage or something, so that might be investigated by the stewards after the race. And I'm riding on board with the Ferrari of Popadlovsky, who is in the Ferrari and is driving the car around Jeddah. Yay, words. The Snape's tired on track. This has been a messy qualifying for the McLaren driver. Kopilovsky bins it on exit, and there's also a Mercedes waiting to let the car go through. But I think we'll go on board with Keeler, who's about to start a lap. hopefully we get to see a bit of perfection or something like that. As Keeler opens the DRS. What's that pit entry from the Alpine? Braking at the 100-meter board, cutting the second apex right to the limit, and getting on the throttle nice and early. That was a pretty good first chicane. Mastering that corner. Almost full throttle. This lap feels quick. Although it's almost a tenth faster than the Banker lap, which was already a quick lap. So early on the throttle, that is like a very good lap. Now into this chicane, doing it wonderfully as well. The pressure is on you, Keeler, if you're listening to the stream, though I assume you are not. Then going through the 22-23 chicane. That was not ideal, losing the back end. Although keeping it pointing the right way, and also having the car on the inside doesn't help. But we'll see what lap this is. We're getting on the throttle, opening the rear wing, crossing the line, and it is a 28-1. So, not as much of an improvement as Keeler would have been hoping for, but still should be enough for pole position. I'm pretty sure this is pole position. Mitch has just described in the Discord chat what happened. We can see our debut driver, Szyzkowski. I don't think that's how it's pronounced. Well, our new debut driver in the Alpine, who has gotten up into P4. So, grid order. Keeler, pole, Kent a bit behind, Turabti a bit more behind, Szyzkowski a lot behind, Eberson very close, Dominic also very close, Turavila also very close. So it seems like, oh, why is our seat filler qualified in 14th? This is ridiculous. So we've got Bakalik, Cinco, Showstack, Snape, and Turek have not set a valid lap time. Here's your full qualifying results. Snape used 4 sets of tyres. Like, what? This is so odd. Loading in now. Seems to be a dry race. Not too much of surprise. Someone's readied up already. Someone's gonna hate someone. Who's gonna hate who? That is the question. Eight seconds until I like go to the grid. Okay, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And away we go. And it is off. What is, okay. And Keeler keeps the lead into turn 1, and it seems like Kent will be able to stay in P2, or maybe not. Seems like Jonas has been able to get in front. Why are these camera angles so bad? But Davy Driver's heaping a bunch of pressure onto Everson in the first sector, but they're both on hard tyres, so we'll be hoping that the race goes into them. But Everson's really struggling and has to cut the corner, but gives up the place, which is the good thing to do if you don't want a penalty. But we'll get the tyres up. So it seems like Keeler in front has gone for hards, Swabsy and Kent mediums, and then it's a big mix. It seems to be mostly mediums, probably hoping for an early-ish safety car so they can box onto the, what's it called, hards. Seems like Everson's running much lower wings than Dominic ahead. Although, I don't think it's as extreme as in Imola, if you remember that, but Ken is only, well, alongside with Tuabti, but runs a bit deep, but Tuabti isn't able to get a switchback yet. And we'll see what wings they're on. Kent seems to be running somewhat low wings. And then going into turn 1. Not too much happens here, but we'll see behind us. Everson is going side by side with Dominic, but loses the rear end. Maybe got tapped from behind, not sure, but fortunately there's no major contact as a bunch of people are in the pits, presumably for a front wing swap and for some of them to retire. As Ivanek also seems to be struggling to get up to speed with the race conditions. Is there anything happening? I think we need to wait for DRS to get enabled. As it seems like, unfortunately, we've had a spin out of Bacalit at the end of the first section in the mini-map. As well as 2 Ovila. So 1 Alpha Tauri running up front, 1 not having the best of races. Seems like Showstat has gotten past Turek. The Turek probably had an absolute mare of a corner. But we've got a spin of Mishla. Unfortunate for the Mercedes driver. We'll ride on board with Everson, who's watching the 2 cars ahead battling for position. Let's see what batteries they're all on. They're all quite high. And Ken is 3/10 behind Keeler, but not alongside yet. So we'll just ride on board with these 3. As Everson has a tiny tap on the back of Dominic, but fortunately there's no consequences for either. Unless Everson looked damaged, but I suspect not. And Ivanek's also following quite close behind, but runs a bit deep into turn whatever, which costs quite a bit of time. As Everson's unfortunately had a spin through the tricky first sector. As Simcoe has retired from the session. What sort of is that? Where is the car? I don't know. We'll ride on board with Pena, who is within DRS of Kokodlovsky, who I'm not sure whether Backlick's also retired. What's happening? Simcoe seems to be having game problems. And Pena's having oversteer problems, as I'm looking at the Discord chat. There's been a lot of position swaps as Dominic tries to go past our debut driver Sikowski, but unfortunately goes deep. And Backlick has left the session. So, unfortunately for Simcoe, his wheel decided to derp up. We'll ride on board with Jonas Tuabti, who is currently P5 in the championship and 49 points, so the podium will aid quite a lot for the championship, as Keeler's unfortunately got a time penalty for warning accumulation after just 4 laps. So Keeler, after looking really strong in quali, seems to be struggling with the warnings. And also Ken is on the board of DRS, and I'll check the gap when we cross the detection point. And it seems like Keeler will have broken out of the DRS of Kent, but we'll see whether Kent decides to use some of the battery to try and get back in, and that does appear to be the case. And Kent will most likely get DRS for this next straight, as Keeler runs completely wide into the chicane, and that will open up the opportunity for Kent to get past going into the final corner. So this race, in about a sector and a half, has gone from great to terrible for Keeler, as now he's down into P2 or P3 once factoring in penalties. And remember that if there's a safety car, everyone behind, so like Stiebel and Zyskowski, are going to be hounding Keeler's 3-second range, if that makes sense. I think we're reliable with Ivanek, who is currently in P6 and following behind the 2 hard runners ahead. So would probably be hoping for a bit more on the medium tyres, but might just be happy to stick within DRS for now and hopefully save a bit of battery, and also try and not get the warnings for the spins, as Snape's now got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. But out in front, Keeler seems to have dropped off back of Kent a bit, so is there downforce discrepancy or any damage to Keeler? Will ride on. Seems like Kent's running some relatively low wings, or maybe he's just using battery. Snape has unfortunately had a Spinala into a wall, and that is the full safety car. And I do not remember how long tyres last at Jeddah. I think hards are borderline as to whether they'll make it to the end. Mediums, I don't think they will. Now is when I need to pick my brain. Keeler stays out, some people in the pits. So I think the mediums were at about 5% a lap. Something like that. Or was it 4.5? As Michelin's got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which is a pretty careless one if you ask me, and Eberson's gone for softs, which last even shorter than, what's it called? Mediums. Yes, medium tyres. Now is when I need to try and find in my memory where my memory is the tyre data for Jeddah. I think medium into 11 laps, medium 14.5. Doing maths on stream not advised. I think mediums are somewhere about 4.5 to 5% a lap, and hards are somewhere between 3.5 and 4%. So I think hards will possibly make it to the end, but they'll be approaching puncture zone and they won't be the quickest. I think medium soft from this point will work. Too much maths. We ride on board with Kent, and I think we'll have another lap under safety car. It seems like Everson and Kovacs have swapped position. I'm not really sure what's happening. Hopefully the safety car will be in soon and we can get back to racing. But we are going on to the second lap under safety car, which hopefully final lap under safety car. Normally it's out for 2 laps. There's still a few people who are yet to catch up, as Michela's gone into the pits to presumably get rid of the penalty, but also to presumably box onto 5-lap-old hard, or 5-lap-old mediums, I'm sorry, which will definitely not be great and not making it to the end. I think that's the one problem with this game. You only get one set of mediums, which really locks down the strategy. Seems like Mitch has been getting into problems. Maybe Mitch to PC4? Question mark, question mark? I don't know. Still another lap on the safety car, I believe, and this race has not been going too well for Keeler, who has a penalty and also is on older tyres compared to like Ken and the other people that he's theoretically fighting with for the race win. So you could argue that Keeler's in the worst position, but if there's another safety car and everyone boxes back onto mediums, or as the option of boxing onto mediums, Keeler will have fresh mediums, whereas most other people will have to settle for mediums that have done 5 laps, as the safety car is in this lap. Penny's retired on track. What's happened here? This is odd. I think we'll ride on board with Kent, who is the lead runner on the newish tyres. We'll go on to the restart now. How late does Keeler leave it? Quite late. And when will Keeler go? The answer is now. It seems like Stiebel was caught a bit off guard, which then meant Kent had to back off a bit. And then Kent absolutely sends it down the inside of Dominic, but they're able to avoid contact. And then Dominic is very authoritative with the position on exit, which has allowed Jonas Turabti to get past Kent. But there's still 18 laps left in this race for Kent to get back past, as Groenewegen got a time penalty for corner cutting, as Eberson is struggling to keep it on track despite having the very grippy soft tyres. But it seems like the top 5 have been able to break away. Maybe Turek had a bad run through the first sector, probably something like that. Shostak has unfortunately had a pretty poor restart. We're riding on board with Eberson. Does he use the battery to try and make a move? Using a bit. What wings? I think he might have learnt the lesson from Imola. Seems like they're all saving the battery, or not using a lot. Or riding on board with the Williams driver right now. We'll probably be hoping to make some moves on the soft compound, which is over second faster when brand new, although that advantage will be declining at a rapid pace because the wear on softs is very high at most tracks, including Jeddah. But Jonas Turabti unfortunately taps the inside of Dominic, going into a half spin, which allows Kent to get through. And Churek's been shuffled down from 6th down to 8th. But out in front, Keeler's been able to pull out of DRS of Siekovsky, who in turn is bordering on the edge of Dominic's DRS, and then Kent is also somewhat struggling to keep up. So Keeler's really ratcheting the pace up, and probably needs another safety. Does Keeler want another safety? Keeler's got to box again. He probably wants to do it under a safety car. Why is Roger asking if Tomas and Keela are racing? But behind it seems like we have some pretty small gaps with Tomas and Pim and the Red Bulls hounding down Shrek, who's really dropped like a stone since the restart. We'll see if there's any moves made. DRS is not enabled yet, but it will be next lap, and it seems like Tomas is just saving the battery as the drives ahead go side by side through the final corner, and the Red Bull of Groenewegen doesn't get the best run. Seems like Eberson's been able to get past Ivanek with the softer rubber. We'll see if the Williams driver is able to bridge to the DRS of Jonas ahead. But Kent as well is quite close to the back of Dominic, and that might have been a track limit warning, so they're picking up their warnings quite quickly, which really isn't ideal for their races if they want to avoid getting a penalty like Keela has. But Keela's been able to pull away quite a bit since the safety car restart. And we have yellow flags as Groenewegen has had a spin where Mick Schumacher binned it in qualifying this year. As Eberson's also had a spin through the hairpin. And we'll ride on board with Kent, who is in the DRS of Dominic, who also has DRS. Kent seems to have set his car to be pretty slippery, both in a straight line and through the corners with the lack of downforce. So we'll see whether that's able to help him, but his battery is not full, but none of their batteries are pretty plentiful. And we see Dominic trying to go for a move around the outside of Sikovsky, but doesn't work, and no DRS. And Kent is just able to breeze straight past him. Will Kent go for a move on our debut driver in the Alpine? The answer is yes, so being quite aggressive to try and catch back up to Keela. However, the Alpine is able to park it in the apex of turn 2, which has allowed Dominic to get back alongside, but is on the outside for whatever turn that is, so it has to back out. What's happened to Ken? Just teleported back. She's allowed Dominic to get through, but this is odd. Like, really odd. Hopefully this isn't a widespread problem, but I guess we'll just see the same thing again, but Jonas to Abti, currently P6, has a lot of battery, has some pretty new tyres that will go to the end, hasn't got a penalty, so combined with Kent is looking really good if the race is green flag to the end. Apparently we might have decent. No one's reported it in the chat yet, and I think it was just Kent teleporting back a bit, although Kent might be desynced with someone. Watch can pull the restart if necessary. But I'll just commentate for now, as they're going too wide, and there's unfortunately the spin, as this is sketchy, like really sketchy, as Kent's been really shuffled back a lot. As Wodge is pinging me. Wodge has the photos, why can't you? This Discord isn't loading stuff. This might be decent. That map. I'll just, it seems not too bad to me. I think we can still continue. For me it's fine. think it's a WOD problem because they are fine for me. What's happened to Abti? I've missed it. What's Samas doing? There's almost no wings, but runs a bit deep. And that will maybe allow Jonas to get a switch back. No, it doesn't. But what's happened to Ken and... Did Ken bin it or something? The annoying thing is when Wodge makes you respond to him instead of actually investigating whether there's desync. I don't know what's happening, because they're saying that Keela and Kovacs are AI cars, which really is not the case for myself. Seems fine. Kent Bennett by himself was it desync, that took Kent out. But Jonas is trying to go around the outside of that corner, which is not what you want to do. But he gets DRS, so should be able to get past. And also has battery, which has left the session maybe to see if that fixes the desync. As Eberson has retired in the pit lane. As Zuzkowski has got a penalty for speeding into the pit lane. It seems like some of the people are coming in for the regular pit stops. But why has Kent gone for softs? That's one odd decision, if you ask me. He doesn't have any new tyres, but I'm not sure why he boxed them. So right now Keela's in the lead by 7.5 seconds ahead of Dominic, and Kopodlovsky is currently net P1 when you factor in pit stops, although Keela's pace has been absurdly quick, and when he straps on a set of new mediums he'll probably be a second, maybe 2 seconds a lap quicker, which will be more than enough to pull out of penalty range at the current rate. As Ivanek, I'm not sure if Ivanek was within DRS. Was not. Kopodlovsky's using battery to try and drop Ivanek, and it seems like Ivanek will not have DRS for this next straight. But could decide to use the battery to get within DRS. Is there anything else happening? Actually, Turabti's not that far behind, so I think Turabti has a chance of possibly winning the race if nothing else bad happens. As Keela and Dominic are in the pits, I would have boxed a bit later if I was there in case there was another safety car. 14 lap old hard shouldn't be too bad, I'm going to be completely honest. Where does Keela come out? Comes out in 5th. Keela's quite far up the road. And Houston with 2. I think what we'll have to do is put out why would I do not know how bad the desync is. Can't seem to be fine. I think we'll just call it. Now switch to thumbnail. Oh, I've had to call the red flag because Wodge has just been pestering me about it. It's a bit annoying to do the restart, and I haven't seen any desync, but Wodge apparently says there's desync. Oh, when do we take the race results from? I think we'll go from when I actually I'll check the rules now. So we'll do a long sprint race. And then I also need to get a screenshot of what we do. I might need to set up the lobby. Am I doing the lobby? Oh, I need to disable crossplay. Why is my FPS so low? I might just do it invite only, so Koziel doesn't come. I'm going to need to load some lobby settings. F7 to load. Do sprint and race. Custom grid. We'll do long sprint at Jeddah. And then I need to do the assists. And I'll set it to friend zone and just... Actually, if Koziel doesn't join before we start, be good. Let's start inviting... Where's my friends thing on Steam? Invite. So there's only going to be 12 people. And I also need to set myself as a spectator. I'll check through all the settings now. Why does the game think that 25 FPS in the menu is acceptable? Seems fine. All those settings. The animations play slower. Grid editor. So, Mishla, and then the Truex goes between them. Why has no one joined the lobby? Now I need to sort out the grid once people have started joining. Head of Kent. Pavlovsky's in first. Show staff is in last. Kosley's head of Kovacs. Kiev. There. Where? It's to Avila. You need to join. And also, where's So I'm gonna give them one more minute to get in. So Vila has joined. Vila behind. Tiramti. Sorry for this red flag issue. Okay, I think we can. She was in 6th. We'll see Ivan at 2. I've told them to ready up now. So hopefully we should be going. Just need to sort out something on my end quickly. Okay. I'm gonna be starting in a few seconds. Why has it gone to midday? Probably might. I'm pretty sure I set it to realistic, but didn't save or something. I guess we race anyways. Hehehe. Something to maybe try and throw off Keeler. No one's ready. Are we still waiting for people to load in? It says waiting for players. Okay, now we're getting the start time. Is the grid wrong? Have 5 red lights and everyone's gone for mediums, but away we go, and we'll slide on board with Keeler, who was previously... What is that? To maths. That is insane. That'll probably be a penalty, as I've got the audio bug right now, but Keeler runs wide, and my FPS is a bit cursed. I don't know what's happening this restart. We've got 9 laps and no pit stops. So we'll see who's able to come out on top when we don't have any strategy to talk about. Press the wrong button. I think we have Seaball and Turex swapping position as Kent has made his way past Turavila, who seems to have had a spin. But Kent is 1.3 seconds off the back. And the question is whether anyone has forgotten to load in a setup. Because at Jeddah, the default setup is extremely slow in the straights, which definitely isn't the case for Keeler. But we can see some too wide action as Keeler tries to go around the outside of Tuabti. But they both go somewhat deep, but Tuabti more, and Keeler's able to get a switch back. And we're riding with Zizkowski, who is saving the battery. And these guys are going so much quicker in the straights, as Tuabti and Keeler have a minor bit of contact, but fortunately no major consequences. Wait, the lights are on. This is weird. Why is street lights on, even though it's daytime. As Michela's unfortunately had to pit probably for damage, and has gone into a set of soft, which actually probably will make it to the end. Right now we ride, let's actually go on board with Kent, who's hounding the back of Turek, as Turek doesn't get the best of exits, and Kent will be trying to get past at the earliest opportunity to go chasing after the leaders and possibly fight for a good position, if not even a win, as Turek seems to be running a higher downforce setup as we go through the chicane, and Kent's just able to carry a lot more speed, so maybe a lot more confident. But Turabti, I believe, got an unfair penalty after the turn 1 carnage. He's currently in 4th outside of DRS, however the front three are battling. As Kopodlovski's already out of battery, and Keeler's going to pounce on that by going down the inside into turn 1. We ride on board with Ivanek, and it seems like Keeler has been able to get past, and now we'll ride on board with Turabti, who's been able to close right up to the back of them, and Kopodlovski thinks about going for the move down the inside, but that is not a corner where you want to overtake. And what this is allowing is for Kent to close closer within DRS, as well as Keeler, who's now outside of the 1 second, so I think Keeler's probably got this race under control, unless safety car or Spinala. So we're riding board with Dominic right now. As we can see that the drivers ahead were taking some quite different lines to the corner. Oh, this audio is so annoying. But it seems like our debut driver in the Alpine is quite close to the back of Turabti. However, does have a bit less battery, but runs a bit deep into the corner, which is really not ideal. But now blasting into turn 27, I think. Turabti thinks about going for a move down the inside of Kopodlovski, but isn't able to pull alongside under braking, and it seems like they're all running quite low in battery, apart from Turabti, who's saved a bit. Dominic's been able to make the move around the outside of the Alpine. Does that open up the door for Kent in any way? Possibly, but I think Kent will back out. Although Kent's battery is looking quite low, so this really hasn't been the best way so far. That was sketchy. But Turabti is currently right on the back of the Ferrari of Kopodlovski, and will probably be hoping to get P2 and that penalty removed. Dominic has actually been able to go straight around the outside as Turabti gets an absolutely horrible exit, which will allow Zivskovsky and also possibly even Kent, that's some dodgy defending, and that sent Kent into a spin that might get reported and end up as a penalty, but Turabti is now dropped outside of the DRS range of the cars ahead, as Dominic is right on the back of the Ferrari, whose rear light is flashing, which means that he's out of battery, and this is going to be an easy move around the outside for the Haas with the additional energy, as currently Dominic is in P2 in the championship, so this result as it stands will probably put him in the lead. I don't think Keeler will be able to move up to second though at the moment, because he's 17. Actually, he will. This has not been a good race for our championship leader. We'll ride and roll with Dominic, who's going to be trying to get past, and we'll do a quick check of the batteries of everyone. Seems like most people are quite low. Apart from Churek, but Churek's in the middle of nowhere. Well, Michela's also quite good in the battery, but is almost a lap down, so it's not that representative, as it seems like Kowski has got past the Ferrari to whatever corner that is. However, the Ferrari will have DRS, but neither of them have battery. Dominic is right on the back of the Alfa Romeo of Ivanek, going into the far chicane. Decides to back off a little bit to avoid running into the back mid-corner. As they run down into the final turn, I suspect that they're just trying to save as much battery as possible. Now braking into the final corner, and then Dominic tries to get a switch back, but isn't really able to, and is actually using quite a bit of battery to try and get past, which does work, but I would be trying to save the battery if I were them, because the battery in this game is so powerful, especially come the final lap, as Kent is able to set the fastest lap. So either he used a lot of battery or his pace is looking good, but so is Keeler's pace. And we'll just see whether the Alpine and Ferrari are, and also Tuabti is able to stick on to the back of this train. Though Tuabti has really not gotten a good run, and neither has the Ferrari. So I think it seems like they'll both be out of DRS come the detection point, which is not ideal for them. But it seems like the the Aston Martin of Ivanek is low in battery, so is the Alpine, and so is the Haas. And Keeler to a lesser extent, but Keeler has quite a big gap, as Keeler seems to be glitching a small amount, but that shouldn't be causing too many problems as he's not really near anyone. To riding board with the Alpine, who's going to maybe try and make a move from the Aston Martin, and he does. Will they get with it DRS of Dominic ahead? The answer is no. So Dominic might have an opportunity to claim a comfortable P2 by pulling out of DRS, but Tuabti's going to go around the outside of Kopidlovsky, and there's a bit of contact made through the corner, but fortunately no severe consequences. So now we head through the first sector and then nose to tail, and Tuabti's really struggling to keep on the back of the Ferrari, so does that suggest the possibility of damage? Car looks a little understeery, but it's not too bad, so it might just be minor damage at this point. But in the battle for P2 we have Ivanek, who's maybe within DRS. It's tight though. I think that's out. But the Alpine is in DRS and will be able to try and close into Dominic, who has a bit more battery and will probably be trying to save it for the final lap, or might just try to reach out of DRS. But the Haas runs quite wide with the chicane, which will cost a bit of time when you clatter over the curb. And Ivanek has been dropped and is losing a pretty decent amount of time on the long straights, considering the lack of DRS, as Jonas is going to try and make a move on the Ferrari ahead with the battery and the DRS and the slipstream, and it's going to be pretty simple as far as moves go. This might also allow Turek to close in, especially if you go that deep into turn 1. And our debut driver in the Alpine is closing right onto the back of Dominic Schibor for the P2 place, but Keeler's just been running away with P1 and it's not been particularly interesting. But we go into whatever turn this is. It's the hairpin. I think it's either 13 or 14, as they're both taking quite tight lines on exit, as Turavila unfortunately has picked up 3 warnings, but is in the middle of nowhere, so those warnings shouldn't really do much. So now the rear wing opens on the Alpine, and the Alpine's actually been able to save a lot of battery a lot more than Dominic has and gets a much better run through the chicane, so might be looking for a move into the final corner, as it seems like they're both saving their batteries up for the final lap. Seems like there's a pretty big straight line speed difference, and they're doing a bit of DRS shenanigans, but it seems like Dominic has the DRS. Will either of them use battery? Dominic does, so does Sikovsky. Although Dominic decides to turn it off and will be going around the outside into turn 1 and has the position going into turn 1 and also has a small battery advantage, but whether that will be able to overcome DRS we'll find out later in the lap, as Dominic is pressured a bit wide with the putting drive on. My commentary today has not been ideal, but we're on board with the Alpine, who has 11% less battery than the Haas ahead, so I think Dominic will be able to stay ahead if he uses the battery in the correct spots. Although it all depends on whether you get one bad exit and then the car behind is right on your tail. And you can see that Dominic's decided to use a bit of it, but it seems like the Haas will be able to hold on to P2 for one final corner and take the lead in the championship. And then I've got to do interviews. As Michelin sets the fastest lap on 5 lap old soft, which is actually quite impressive. Also, Ken is going for a move on Kopidlovsky, who is able to defend into the final corner. But we'll see whether... What's Kopidlovsky doing? Did he run out of fuel? I think that's what happened. And Tuabti gets the time penalty for after the lap 1 carnage, which should get removed. However, he might get a penalty for the incident with Ken. I'll ask if any of them want to do interviews. We still have Michelin to do half the lap, so we'll quickly switch to the thumbnail and then ask if anyone wants to do interviews. I'll join it now. Who will join? Okay, it seems like we have Jordan Kent in the interview room. I can't hear you. Okay, now I can. Okay. Hello. Should we start with Kent? So, you came into the race leading the championship. I don't think that's still the case.
I don't know. I mean, Dominic's smashed out 2 people in the first race twice, and then I believe he did something this round as well. So he could possibly get some time penalties and drop down. I just got shafted today by people that can't drive.
Yeah. So apparently in the first lobby you were desynced, and that's why Wodge made me do the restart.
Yeah, so my game freezes.
So are you having
freezes every now and then?
Game freeze where you glitch back?
Yeah, that's what that is. But yeah, no. I don't think any of the desync or like the game freezes had anything to do with any of the moves that was made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like there were quite a few iffy moves. What position did you end up finishing in?
5th. Just then.
5th, so you gained 10 points, which means that Dominic got 18.
That's before reports, though.
It's very close in the top 3.
Yeah.
Because okay, so right now we're loading into the race lobby, although because it's a sprint, we don't want that. So I think what I'll just do is I'll just close the game.
Yeah. No, I don't really know.
Overall, it was quite a messy session with
Yeah, it really
the
was. Like,
the lobbies and everything.
yeah, no, there was that. I mean, just some of the move people were trying to do, just breaking too late and stuff like that. And I don't know what that AlphaTauri was doing. I literally had him
Yeah, I saw
all the way
that
around that
on
corner.
stream.
Yeah, and he just dive bombed me and then spun me. So he'll get a report. The Alpine on turn one, he'll get a report because it was literally like me and Keeler back in Imola, Monza.
I think that was which turn one? Turn one lap one on the restart. That was carnage.
I can't remember what lap it was. I got to find it, but I went down his inside, and the little thing that tells you where, like, how close they are, it goes
Yeah.
red and then white. He was in the white,
Yeah.
and I then started turning right, and he just come and hit me.
Yeah,
So
we'll probably. I'll have to take a look at that. But we've also got Keeler in the interview room. That was a pretty dominant race.
I think yes. It was on the start. It was really demanding.
Yeah. So
Competitive with Jordan and Jonas, I think.
yeah, in
They
the
started on the mediums, and I thought I can let them go because they are faster on mediums, and I will just go in the other train.
yeah, but
But
you were faster than them.
I don't know. I can't say that because I had free air, and they were fighting, and you know, if you are fighting all this time.
Yeah.
But
So
when I saw on the map and they crashed, I was so confused because how did they crash at the last turn? Because there's plenty of room, and I just pulled away.
I don't know. But when the first safety car came out, you didn't box, which I think made sense, and also had the time penalty.
Yeah, but I think I pulled away to get
Yeah, I
the
think
win.
when you ended up boxing just before the red flag, you were something like only 3 or 4 seconds off the lead, and I suspect that you would have been 2 seconds a lap quicker for 10 laps.
I like Jeddah because I think it's the most demanding track
Yeah,
after Singapore, and you need to really be focused on the racing.
yeah. And
But
then when we had the restart, because of the timing of the red flag, I think you started in 5th, but
yeah,
quite easily made it up into 1st.
yeah, because at the first turn, Red Bull just sent it without braking in front of me.
Yeah,
And next I was just overtaking because I'm faster than
yeah,
someone. Yeah, Jeddah is funny track. I like these fast turns.
yeah.
Next is Baku. It's
Oh,
I think
Baku.
less people will finish race than here, so it will be funny.
Yeah, we only had 12 people at the race restart. I'm not I think all 12 made it to the end.
I think yes.
Yeah, so I think unless anyone joins for an interview in the next 15 seconds, we will end the stream, which has been going on for an hour 42. That's been a
Oh
long
my God.
race.
Yeah, I'm so sweaty.
Well, almost at the 2 hour time limit. Was it? I think it's 2 hours 5 minutes.
This race was crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
First
a lot
Koziel,
of
then like
Koziel
what
joined
was
it,
what was saying everyone was desynced, and I didn't see any desync on my screen.
I also
yeah,
didn't see
no,
any desync.
Keeler was second, and I was like, huh? Like, when did someone overtake him? So I see that desync. Mine was just from like game freezes. So that's that. Yeah, is the stream ended, by the way?
Not yet.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay, so should we just say bye to all the 4 viewers?
Bye. Thanks for
Bye.
watching.
See you in Baku next week.
See ya.
Bye.